Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we're doing an episode of Hot and Cold. This is a series I like to do where I talk about the best and worst music I've heard over the past week. Specifically for this episode, we'll be looking at any songs released between April 21st and April 27th, 2019. As per usual, the songs will be linked in the description, so if you want to check out any of these songs, feel free to do so. And if you notice that a song or two is missing, let me know. Without further ado, let's just jump into the hot tracks, also known as the best of the week. Kicking off this week, we have Sum 41's newest single. This is the lead-off single for their new album, Order in Decline, which is due to drop on July 19th. This new single is entitled Out for Blood. Order in Decline will be Sum 41's seventh studio album, and it looks like the lead singer Derek Whibley has recovered from his alcohol issues. I love this new single. It's got like this squealing kind of guitar solo that kind of gives off like this metal influence. The muscular drumming also kind of gives off this hardcore punk metal kind of performance. I will say that Derek's telephonic vocals remind me a lot of Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. He likes to put a lot of that vocal effect on Green Day songs. Might feel a little cliche at this point, especially with the subject matter of the song, but I still enjoy it, and I think it's really fun to sing along to in the chorus. Moving on from there, the Black Keys have released their second single for their forthcoming album. I already did a full-length review of it, so if you want to check that out, be sure to do so. I will give a synopsis here, though. I love the percussion kind of layering to the track. We definitely get more of a focus on the groove. I still prefer Low High, which was the lead-off single, but it feels like the Black Keys are going back to basics. They're going back to their roots of like the early 2000s, and I can't really complain. Next up, we have the new Taylor Swift single, Me. More like I should be shouting, me. It does have an exclamation point, just like Panic at the Disco. And notably, Brendon Urie is featuring on here. This song is very catchy. It's just oozing positivity. The lyrics don't really take themselves seriously, but I feel like it's this fun, kind of cute love song about self-love and confidence. I really only cringe at like the bridge, especially when they're saying, hey kids, spelling is fun. Super cliched for that, but this song is really bright and kind of uplifting. It's got like this cheerful kind of pop sound to it. It's a refreshing change of pace, I would say, compared to T Swift's last album, Reputation. I felt like that one was just trying to be so edgy, and it just came off really badly. Lastly, I'll say that I appreciate the marching band snares on here, and I'll say that the song feels like it could be a pretty popular one at weddings in the upcoming few years. And last but not least, we can't really forget the fact that Taylor Swift is going to be coming out with a new album this year. It is unannounced at this point, but I will keep my eyes out for it. Moving on from there, YG has a new single out. It's called Stop Snitchin'. This one, the instrumental is captivating. The flow is frosty cold. It's bitter. Pretty repetitive in the vocals, but it's still a refreshing take on trap rap. Next up, Rammstein. They have a new single out. It's called Radio, or as they pronounce it on the song, Radio. This is the second single for their forthcoming album that's due to drop this year. Definitely more compelling than Deutschland. Feels more original. Better to sing along to in the chorus, and just way more anthemic. Now with an anthemic song from Rammstein, you start to worry that like their unnerving or unsettling kind of mood might be taken away, but it's still there, and I feel like it's catalyzed by this quirky synth line that's pretty captivating. I also really enjoy the chugging heavy metal guitar riffs. They really just propel the energy forward. It's a great song. Moving on from there, we have another hot track from Mannequin Pussy. This is a pretty vulgar name for a band, but they have a new song. It's called Drunk 2. This is like alternative rock, kind of gives me like that feeling that it's like directly taken from like the 90s. We got like these loud droning riffs, a bit of noise rock influence to it, and it's got like a pretty catchy melody. Rounding out this week's hot tracks, we have a new single from Pronoun. This one is entitled Sadie. This one's got like a shoegaze influence to it. There's lots of distortion, lots of effect pedals, loud volume, and feedback with some white noise. The melody between the guitar and vocals is pretty repetitive, but it is hooky. Now moving on to the middle of the road tracks of the week. These are songs that I found to be okay. They weren't the best, they weren't the worst, just something to keep on your mind. Kicking that off, we have a new single from Martin Garrix, Macklemore, and Patrick Stump of Fall Out Boy. This one is entitled Summer Days. I honestly feel like I need like a time machine to go back to 2014, the last time I found these artists to be relevant. I will say the slap bass on the song is pretty cool, but the track overall just feels like it would have been better suited for a song of summer a few years ago. I don't really want to knock on it too much just because it is a catchy song. It just feels like I have to be in that right mindset to really listen to it. Moving on from there, Bruce Springsteen, the boss. He has a new single out. This one's called Hello Sunshine. This is in support of his new album on the way. This one will be called Western Stars. That will be dropping June 14th, 2019. Judging by the album cover and title, it's pretty obvious that this will be a bit of a country release from the boss. On this song, though, I feel like the slide guitar has a nice touch to it. The vocals from Bruce suit the style. Even though he was more famous for like his brand of arena rock back in the 80s, I still appreciate the evolution from this legendary artist. However, what makes it kind of this middle-of-the-road track, I would say it's a bit of a snoozer. It doesn't really keep me on the edge of my seat while I'm listening to it. Moving on from there, The National have a new single out in support of Game of Thrones, that soundtrack I've been kind of talking about the last few weeks on Hot and Cold. The new song on here is called Turn On Me. This one from The National, it's got like this brooding atmosphere, which is a plus, but I feel like the vocal performance is another stale one from Matt Berninger. It's a complete snoozer. Now rounding out the week with the cold tracks, definitely the worst I heard over the past week. We have a new cut from Bastille. This one's called Doom Days. It's a shorter kind of track. It's around 2.5 minutes long. It's got like this dramatic feel to the song that just is not my cup of tea. Pretty bland, and these lyrics have been heard about a million times before. I also don't like the robotic vocal layering. It's pretty obnoxious, and the trap production on this one is pretty lackluster, dull, dreary. Any of those kind of words would work for it. I just feel like the song was meant to be sung by Halsey for some reason. Moving on from there, the Chainsmokers have a new single out, and it feels like every other week I'm saying that because ever since the start of Hot and Cold, I feel like I've listened to more of their songs than anyone else. Anyways, their new single is entitled Do You Mean? This one is featuring Ty Dolla $ign and Below. And what can I say about this one that hasn't really been talked about with the other kind of releases from them at this point? It's just got this basic chord progression, basic structure. It's got this R&B vibe. I will say that the Chainsmokers do like to switch up the styles that they go for. Sometimes they have like this dubstep influence, sometimes they have R&B, sometimes they just have bland pop. But this week's song from them is definitely R&B. This one I feel like is just trying to imitate and capitalize off of Khalid's style. And for that, it's pretty bad in my mind. Moving on from there, Love, whatever his name is, he has a new single out. It's called Drugs in the Internet. I appreciate the overblown and fuzzy bass in the chorus. I feel like it's all right, but the hook and the rest of the song is forgettable, I think. Last but not least, this week we have a new single from Dan Mangan. This one is called Have a Little Faith in Me. It's another slow burn kind of single from him, very melancholic. I feel like I can't even really distinguish this from the last single he put out. On here, I feel like the breathy vocals are definitely bothersome for me, at least, and Dan's better off when he's kind of going for like this upbeat kind of indie rock feel, which he did on his last record. We'll wrap it up there. There's Hot and Cold for the week. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching today's episode. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of these songs. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town, and as always, have a rockin' day.